Today marks 1654th day of daily lessons, day reflections. And today we speak about compromises, compromises that lead to downfall. And I always knew the importance of compromises. And it's interesting that compromises seems that a nice word. It's great to compromise, find the middle ground. But I think that in certain things we're not supposed to compromise. Never. We're supposed to have non-negotiables that we always do what we said they will do. Otherwise, when we start to compromise in our life, we start the beginning of the downfall. Because when you compromise the small things in your life, you don't fall immediately. You fall slowly. Now, compromise could be great when you are in relationships, but not when you do something that is actually non-negotiable in your life. And that's why it's very, very important to understand what are the non-negotiable. Because if you do not know that this is non-negotiable, it's like it's just important thing, it will compromise even more. I always remember how when I used to prepare for competitions, I needed to lose weight, I needed to be the best shape ever. People still try to compromise me. Oh, just one meal, just one snack, just one exercise, just the one day don't go to a gym. And I knew that if I compromise one time, I will compromise more times in the future. So I never allow myself to compromise on the things that were extremely important for me. So number one, small compromises don't stay isolated; they spread. So what it means is that if you compromise in gym, so you don't go to gym, now you'll start to compromise even in procrastinate at work. So there is a saying that how you do one thing, that's how you do everything. So one compromise in one area of life will potentially build a character who actually compromises non-negotiables, the important things that is mattering for you specifically. So we're not supposed to allow. That's why we need to say that okay, what are the non-negotiables in every area of my life, and I do not compromise on my non-negotiables because if I compromise on one thing, most likely that will spread to other areas of our life. Number two, repetition removes emotional resistance. So what it means is that when you really want to compromise for the first time, and it's painful, it's hard, it's difficult, you don't want to do it because you know that it's that one thing could potentially lead to other things, and you have a massive emotional resistance to compromise with your values, with the things that you're supposed to do, knowing going to a gym. So below massive resistance. Second time, second time will be resistance, but not as hard. Third time will be no even less resistance. At some point, because you compromise so many times, there'll be no emotional resistance whatsoever. You just compromise and that's it. And just don't go to a gym. And that's why it's a very dangerous place to be when you compromise without any emotional resistance whatsoever. And of course, then you know that you lost your non-negotiable. You know that this is not your identity. This is not who you are anymore. And that's again very dangerous place to be in. Number three, most people destroy themselves through justification, not rebellion. It's interesting because that's saying that I deserve this as well. This is one of the of justification. Justification is a terrible word because oh, I went to a gym, so I deserve to eat a cake. I deserve it. But the thing that's when you think about really what you deserve the best health possible. You deserve health. You deserve energy. You deserve things better for you. So when you think about cake and you deserving a cake, is that actually what you deserve? Theoretically, you want this, but I don't think that you actually deserve it. And I think that sometimes we can really mistake what we actually deserve because we deserve the health, energy to pursue big things. And sometimes when so that people are working very hard, 12 hours a day, they have terrible financial situation. And so that you worked 12 hours, you worked very hard, you really came back home and you extremely tired. And that moment you say like, oh, I deserve to rest. And sometimes I always say that maybe not. Maybe you deserve to really better your financial situation. Maybe you deserve to build a skill set. Maybe you deserve something better in life rather than working 12 hours and still struggling financially. Maybe you deserve something better. And I think that justify that you deserve to rest will make you stay in this place much longer than you could potentially be. And people say like, oh, everyone does it. It doesn't matter what everyone does it, but what is best for you. That's the question that we're supposed to answer. This is a big one. Number four, tiny betrayals to yourself create internal weakness. Tiny betrayals to yourself create internal weakness. It's interesting because when you think about respect and trust are probably the most important things when you really pursue big things in life. Because if you don't trust yourself, you will not pursue them. And you need to respect yourself to not tolerate bad things in life. The more respect yourself, the more respect you have to yourself, the better external relationships you will have, the better relationship with yourself, the better food it will eat. Because when you don't respect yourself, you will eat shit. When you don't respect yourself, you don't go to gym. When you don't respect yourself, you don't educate yourself. And I think that's a lot of times, and majority issues are with self-respect because disrespecting yourself leads to mismanagement of yourself. Because when you respect yourself and love yourself, at that moment you take care of yourself. Tiny betrayals to yourself, it is destroying self-respect, destroying self-trust, and those things, of course, will destroy all other parts of our life. Number five, the consequences arrive long after the habit form. This is probably the most dangerous part. The consequence arrive long after habits form. That means that it might be that when you live a life certain way, with those compromise for 5 years, 10 years, and you don't see, and then at some point the consequence will come, and you realize that you wasted 5 years of your life on compromising certain areas of life. It might be that you compromise only a couple of things, even though that I mentioned it, most likely will spread things, but those that's the most interesting part because it says that when you go to McDonald's once, probably will not build a fat around your belly, but if you'll go years after years, most likely you'll start to see in the mirror that there is some bumps around your belly. So that means that it's unfortunate, but we're not able to see the consequences immediately. Even smoking, people smoke for 20 years, and then after 20 years, finally something happens with their health. And then they start to realize, well, like why I did that, what I did, why I compromised. And I think that my mom as well always was teaching, thinking, okay, what will happen if I keep this habit for a long time? What will happen? Number six, often downfall often begins when standards become negotiable. Downfall often begins when standards become negotiable. And this again, one of the most important things in life as well, standards. What standards do you live by? I always say that you should have a high standard and low standard, which means that the high standard is how you perform at your best, and then lower standard is how you perform when under pressure, when life is not going your way. And I learned that people who really succeed, people who are developing the lower standard, how do they perform when life is not treating them well? How they perform when when they are under pressure? How they perform when they feel at their worst? Because person who has a very high standard during good days might be that he's falling apart and quitting everything and destroys everything what he had built during high days. And I think that again, standards are extremely important. And again, the most important part is not compromise on your standards. If you build it and said, this is my standard, not allowing yourself in for any reason whatsoever to downgrade that standard. Number seven, the most dangerous compromises are the invisible ones. The most dangerous compromises are invisible ones. What it means that is you tolerate disrespect, you lower expectations, emotionalness, intellectual laziness, all those things that really sometimes is harder to see. It's interesting because I know by myself, by my own experience, that I had experience. I tolerated disrespect. I was emotional numb for some reason, for different reasons. I lowered my expectations for different reasons, and I catch myself doing that, and I was not able to really fix that for a long, long time because I didn't see that. Like it was a blind spot for me. And sometimes it's interesting thing that for me, the number one reason why I was compromising is that I wanted to keep something in my life that was not supposed to be in my life. And that's why it's compromised my values, my aspirations. Oh, I tolerate disrespect because I wanted to have something that didn't belong in my life. And I think that's the most dangerous place to be, to really try to really have something in your life that's not supposed to be in your life. And I think at that moment, we can really start compromising the things that is actually the most important things in our lives. That's inner strength, inner peace, self-respect, self-trust, all those things. So how do you reflect as well? There's of course, more things that when you think about compromise, and there's discipline that we need to talk about. But I really want to really speak today just about compromises. I really just put a light on it because when you look into our lives on a daily basis and on a monthly basis, and ask it like, when was the last time when I said that I deserve something? When was the last time when I said just for one day? Those what was the last time when I really compromised something on something? Maybe I ate something that I was supposed to. Maybe I didn't go to a gym when I supposed to. Maybe I didn't study when I supposed to. What was the reason that I quit? And one of the most disciplined person that I know that I follow, I don't remember his name, but I really loved what he said. Is that when you really do something for every single day, no matter what, you don't have compromise, but for some reason you're extremely tired, you're extremely really tired. There's a chance to really give yourself a a day. Like it's just like oh, like that's how he said it. I remember now that if you're extremely tired, you need to do what you said you will do anyway. You're extremely tired, do it anyway. Next day, if you still feel extremely tired, okay, give yourself one day rest. But you never, 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 never supposed to give yourself 2 days of rest. One day is okay. 2 days, never, because 2 days are already building a new habit. And I think that's a great way. So if you really don't want to do something that day, do it anyway, no matter what. If you feel second day that you want to, you extremely tired, okay, allow yourself to rest for one day. Maybe there's a reason for it. And then third day, go back to it no matter what. And I think that's a great way to really compromise. And if that's the only, if there is a way to compromise, I think that's a great way. So if you first day, if you really want to really compromise, don't allow it to compromise. Do it what you're supposed to do. Second day, okay, you allow yourself not to do it. Third day, don't compromise. Do what's necessary and must be done. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.